What is up, everybody, and welcome to another Kinstretch class brought to you by Stretch Effect. My name is Coach Luke, and I'll be taking you through today's 30-minute hip-focused Kinstretch class. So the focus of today's class is going to be on the hips, like I said, but it really focusing on internal, external rotation of the hips. When you think about hip motion, whether it's a squat, whether you're running, really anything you do with your hip joint, the prerequisite motion is called IR and ER, or internal rotation and external rotation, within the hip capsule. So we have other motions like flexion and extension. We have what's called abduction and adduction. Those motions kind of play off of internal external rotation, because internal external rotation tells us we have a healthy hip capsule. So the healthy hip capsule is indicative of the workspace that we have, right? So the workspace is characterized by our hip car, right? So the reason that we do hip cars at the beginning of class, and the reason we want you to do them, in the morning, before you exercise, after you exercise, really any time throughout the day, is that the hip cars are a kind of characterization of the workspace you have. And the workspace you have is an indication of the health of your capsule, right? So they're really focusing on getting into better internal and external rotation. You're going to create better flexion extension, better abduction adduction, which will be kind of focused on in other short 30-minute hip focus classes. So like I said, today is going to be internal rotation, external rotation. Future classes will be flexion extension, will be abduction adduction, because those in terms of our hierarchy of importance, the IR and the ER are really going to be the kind of the foundation. So we're going to do some hip cars, we'll do some capsule cars, we're going to do some tails and rails, and we'll kind of move around, we'll explore different positions, and then you can kind of get an indication of how the hips are feeling, where you may need more work. Okay, so we'll start with the side lying position. So if you have a yoga block, you can just throw that down, that would be kind of like your pillow. If you do not have a yoga block, that's okay, you can just use your arm. So your arm would be place of your yoga block right here, so the arm goes down, and you just rest your head here. If you have a block, don't throw it right down over your head. I'm in this kind of, I think 45 degree, you can be up into 90, or you can be even slightly less than 45, but 45 degree bend of the knee. My side is down, and I think still, just because I'm laying on the floor, it doesn't mean I don't want to brace through that core, right? Because I want to make sure that the torso stays still. I'm getting all my motion from my hip and not my spine. All right, I want the hip to do what a hip does, and I want the spine to do what a spine does, right? So I'm laying on my side, head is just relaxed. Take my top hand, press in for some stability. Bottom leg presses down on the ground subtly, and then top hand presses down. From here, I will go up into hip flexion. I will open up into abduction. I will internally rotate, so my foot rotates back to the wall behind me. As I continue to try to max out that rotation, I'm also coming around into extension. Nothing else in my body moves. And then I come through, and then I just reverse. I'm going back into extension. As I go back into extension, that's what I was saying. We want to make sure we stay nice and braced through the torso. We're not arching our back and moving our spine to create more hip motion. All right, so heel goes back towards the wall. I'm gonna lift, come over, and come through. Let's go one more rep there. So hip flexion, abduction. We're going to internally rotate. So think femur rotates in as I come into extension. Make sure that the hip stays on the floor, or this leg stays down, and I'm not rolling open this way, right? So everything stays still. This hand tension's down. I come around and through. Last one, let's reverse. Extension. Open that hip up as much as you can without anything else moving. Come over the top and through. From here, we're going to stay on this side. We're going to go into what's called our capsule cars. So the capsule cars are just internal, external rotation of my femur within the hip capsule. Okay, so when we go up, we're going to start another rep. Open up into abduction as much as you can without opening up, right? So from here, my knee will stay right here, right? So imagine you got like a skewer going straight through your femur. From there, I'm just going to internally rotate my hip, so foot rotates back towards the wall behind me, and then externally rotate my hip, so my foot will rotate forward. Okay, might seem like they're backwards, but it's actually the direction of your femur as it rotates in, foot rotates back, femur rotates forward, femur rotates out, foot rotates forward. Good. We're going 5 reps here. So think, find your end, push into that boundary, fight for a little bit more. Externally rotate, pushing that boundary, fight for a little bit more. So even though we're just moving a small motion here, don't ease up on that tension. Try to push as much as you can without anything else moving. Externally rotate, find that end, push into it. Let's go one more each side. Internally rotate, push in that boundary. Push, 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 push. Externally rotate, push in that boundary. And come back down. And we'll switch sides. So those are called capsule cars. So you can do those from laying on your back, you can do them standing, you can do them laying on your side. All different positions. You want to turn to the right, so right here. Again, stack those knees. Hand press into the floor, top one down, bottom leg down on the floor. From here, I'll do 2 hip cars. So I'm going to come up into hip flexion, open up, abduction, internal rotation. Right foot rotates to the wall behind me. I extend that hip, right, drive that heel back, come around and through, and reverse. Foot rotates back, open up over the top as much as you can. Come back down. One more. Up. Everything stays still. From the hips up. Open into abduction. This leg stays still. Foot rotates to the wall behind me. I extend that hip. Right, drive that heel back. Just moving through that hip. And through. And reverse. Foot rotates back. Hip goes back. Spine stays still. Open as much as I can. Come down and around. So let's go back to those capsule cars. So I'm going to come up, hip flexion, open up as much as I can. Got that skew to the right to my femur. Internally rotate, push back, fight for more. Externally rotate, push back, push forward, fight for more. Internally rotate, push foot back to that wall. You should feel that outer hip working. Externally rotate, you should feel some inner thigh. Try to pull that foot forward. That's 2. Let's go 5 reps here. Find your end, fight for more. Push into that boundary. The stronger, the more comfortable you can get in these end positions, the farther range that you have, the better hip rotation you'll have, the better your squats will feel, the better everything will feel that you do with your hip. The body in general, really. Last one. Internal, foot drives back. External, foot drives forward. Squeeze it. Come around. Finish off that leg. Very good. So here, we're going to go right into our 90-90 stretch. We're going to go 90-90. So we call that 90-90 because we have a 90-degree bend on the front hip, on the front knee, 90-degree bend on the back knee. Okay, so what we're going to do, some internal rotation, tails and rails. So that means I'm going to take my hand right here on my hip, and I'm just going to open. So think rotate from the pelvis and close. This is just going to give us a feel for what internal rotation will feel like in this 90-90 position. And it also gives us a chance to warm that hip up a little bit more before we get into our tails and rails. 3, good, 4, okay, we're going to go one more, we're going to stay open, so stay open as much as you can, so from here, as much as you can rotate, so think like you're trying to rotate, in this case would be my left butt cheek towards that floor, okay, so the more I can rotate from my pelvis, right, I don't want to just rotate through my spine, from my back and my torso, I'm trying to rotate that pelvis as much as I can, right, because my femur is fixed right here, right, so the more I rotate my pelvis, the deeper stretch I'm going to get on that internal rotation or in the capsule, right? So I can do a fixed pelvis and rotate the femur, or I can do a fixed femur and rotate the pelvis, right? So either way, I'm getting more tension, more of a stretch in that capsule, which is what we're going for, right? So we're just going to stay in the stretch here as you breathe, right? So think 4 count inhale, 8 count exhale. We always want twice as long on the exhale because that's really what's going to allow us to breathe, calm that nervous system down, and the more we can relax, the more range, the more rotation your body will give you, right? So every exhale, try to get a little bit deeper into that internal rotation, and then you're definitely going to feel that if you're doing it right, okay? So we're going to go It's called Pails and Rails. So typically we're going to hang out in this stretch for about 2 more minutes. All right, so we've been in the stretch for probably about a minute or so already. So go for about another minute. And just while we stretch, I'm going to explain our Pails and Rails protocol. Right, so our Pails, our progressive angular isometric loading, stands for, will be a 10-second buildup of pressing my foot and ankle into the ground. My knee will stay here. My foot will press down into the floor, building up contraction over the first 10 seconds. And then we're going to hold that max contraction for 10 seconds. Okay, so now rails, we'll be immediately going into driving knee to the floor, trying to lift the foot for 15 seconds without coming out of that stretch, right? So your body's going to want to do this to come out of it, right? So we really got to make sure that we stay open. If anything, keep trying to lift that foot and then keep trying to rotate your pelvis more towards that heel, right? So it shouldn't move, right? It's called an isometric. So you're contracting, but you're not moving, okay? So let's go from here, one round here, okay? So take a breath in, brace that core, and start driving foot and ankle into the floor for 10 seconds. Each second get 1 or 10% more into the floor. So we're at 3, 4, 5 seconds, you get 50%, 6 seconds, 60%, 7, 8, build up to your max, 9, last second here and hold for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, and you got 5, 4, keep going, 3, 2, 1, knee drops down, try to rotate that foot up, keep pulling yourself to your left. Keep going, we got 15 seconds here. Try to lift that foot, get light on that scale under that foot. 10, 9, keep driving that knee to the ground. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax deeper into that stretch. You should feel some good stuff going on over the top of that hip and that rails contraction. And then from there, take one more deep breath. Big exhale. Let's go hand back to that hip. And then let's just roll closed, roll open, roll closed, roll open. Feel like you got a little bit more. May not be much. Right, our joints really function in millimeters, centimeters, right? So you may just feel like you get a little bit more, and that's what we're after, right? Every time you come back, a little bit more, and go from there. Very nice. So that was our Pails and Rails for internal rotation. So now we're going to do what's called passive range lift-offs for internal rotation. So it's going to be that same rails contraction that we just did. You're driving your knee to the floor and you're trying to lift that foot. But because we're here, you're not going to be able to lift that foot in that position, right? So we want to get out over that front leg. So depending on how much mobility you have, you may need to be kind of way out here. You may need to lean out towards that front leg to get that foot up. Some people are going to be able to get that foot up really high because they have really good internal rotation. Some of us, kind of like me, who don't have as good of internal rotation, the foot may only leave the ground a few inches. Really what we want to do is we want to challenge ourselves to the point where that's really what we're after in this case. If you get your foot way high, you just need to sit up more, challenge yourself a little bit more. If you barely get your foot off the ground, you may need to lean farther forward. But what we want to find is that wherever that position is with your upper body, lock that position in and stay there. Okay, so we don't want to do this, right? We want to stay here. Now we get that foot up, right back down. Okay, so find the position. We're going to do 5 passive range lift-offs for internal rotation of that left hip. So from here, you're going to drive the knee to the ground and lift, and back down, and lift, and back down, and lift, back down. 2 more, and lift, back down. Last one, knee drops down, foot rotates up, and back down. Very good. From there, we will go right into external rotation, Pails and Rails for our front hip. Okay, so this is external rotation, internal rotation on the back, right? So right here, we do the same thing. We're going to do Pails and Rails, 1 set, and then we're going to do what's called passive range holds for external rotation. And we'll do a nice transition to the other side, do that same thing on the other side. So from here, we're going to get tall. You're going to find a stretch on that front hip. Not by just folding down, which you see a lot of people do, right? I want to create, just like I did with internal rotation, rotate my pelvis on a stable femur. This femur is going to stay still, and now I'm going to rotate my pelvis by sticking my butt out like I'm trying to lift my tailbone, kind of like you're doing like the cat or the cow part of the cat-cow. Right, so I'm trying to get big chest, and then I have a string pulling my belly button up and forward, and I have a string from my tailbone, pull my tailbone back and up. So I don't want to just be here. I want to think, lift the tailbone, lift the chest, lift the belly button, and then I'm going to go as far forward as I can in this the stretch of external rotation of this hip. So I feel like I can't get any farther forward without having to round my back, right? So continue to just try to lift that tailbone as much as you can. Stick that butt out, arch your back, stay tall in the chest, get a good stretch on that down hip. Okay, so again, we're just gonna hang on this stretch, take 4 or 5 count inhale, 8 to 10 second on the exhale. Longer the exhale, the better. The more you can relax, the deeper your body will give you into that stretch. Okay, so from here, I wanna think inhales, again, 10-second ramp, driving foot and ankle into the floor, building that up. One second is 10%. We're not just skipping 10%, right? Think 10, 11, 12, progressively getting up into our max 100% on the 10th second. We're gonna hold for about 10 seconds, and then we'll quickly switch into a rails, knee drives down. I'm trying to lift my foot. Because we're at our end range, you may get this little foot motion, but you shouldn't be able to get that foot off the ground, right? Because you're at your end range, okay? So that'll be a 15-second rails. You're gonna really feel that leg, feel that inner kind of hip work in there. We'll relax into it, and then we'll get into our passive range holds. Okay, so find that stretch. We should already be in that stretch for about 2 minutes, right? So take a breath in, solidify that torso, and start driving foot and ankle into the floor, building that up first 10 seconds. Right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, we're at 50%, 4, 3, 2, 80%, 1, 90%, and go. 100%, 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rails, knee drives down. Try to rotate that foot up. Keep pulling yourself deeper into that stretch. Keep pulling yourself deeper. Lift that tailbone. Big chest, arch the back. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just relax. Notice your body gives you a little bit more range, and slowly come out of that there. So now from this position, we're going to go into what's called a side lying 90-90. Okay, so if you're here, I'm just going to rotate so you can kind of see what I'm doing from this side. So I'll be 90-90, and I'm going to take my back leg and go straight out, and I'm going to lean on my elbow, almost like I'm doing a side plank. Okay, so I got top leg straight. Look at your body, make sure it lines up with your shoulder. Bottom leg is still in 90 degrees. Elbows right under me, kind of like I'm doing a side plank. So I'm in this position, just right here. So what we're going to do for this one is called passive range holds. Okay, so I'm going to pull my hip up into my passive external rotation. And then what I'm going to do is I'll release, and I'll try to hold that same position for 5 seconds. We're going to do 5-second passive range holds. And then we'll do a nice transition to the other side. Okay, so what I'm going to do, top leg presses firmly into the floor, so you feel some good tension on the inside of that thigh. This knee will drive into the ground as if I was trying to do that rails contraction, right? So we can try to hold that. We're going to go 5 seconds, and we'll slowly go down. We're going to pull up from that kind of shin ankle area again. We're going to do 5 reps, hold into 5. Okay, so get nice and relax first. Pull up into your external rotation, whatever that means for you. Knee will stay on the floor. We're going to solidify that core and release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go down slow. And then we'll grab it right back up. Okay, make sure everything's lined up. Pull up, knee drives on the floor, and release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down slow. That is 2. Very good. We got 3 more. Pull up, so when you pull up, you'll relax. Then we'll solidify and release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go slow. 2 more here. Here we go. Up, external rotation. Hold, solidify and release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down slow. Last one here. Top leg stay straight. Try to lift that rib cage. If you have a block, what you can do as well, make it hard. Throw that block under your rib cage so it doesn't let you do this, right? So I'm gonna stick here. It's gonna cut your range of motion down a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm gonna come up. Knee drops on the floor and release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down slow. Very good. Let's go back into 90-90. From here, I'm going to do a nice slow transition to the other side. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go chest out over that knee again, just like I was doing my pales rails for external rotation. Hands on the floor for stability. I'm going to lift my back heel while my big toe goes into the floor. Just a little bit. Big toe goes into the floor, lift that heel. What I'll do is I'm going to think chest stays forward, only lift this knee as much as I can without anything else moving, right? I don't want to do this. Stay up, lift as much as possible. Let's come back down. Let's do 3 reps here for the hinge. I'm going to lift, back down. Last one, we're going to hold it up there and lift. From here, I will now kick it any more here. Keep this knee on the floor as long as possible. I'm going to rotate my chest towards my front heel. This will give me a little bit more space, so I'll open up as much as I can there. From there, I can't get any more. Then I'm going to take this hand, go behind me. That will give me a little bit more if you need to reset your hands. Keep this knee on the floor as long as possible. These knees are allergic to each other, right? They're trying to drive apart the whole time. Get as much as you can on this, what is my front hip now. From there, once I can't get any more, then I start to bring the back leg. So it's like this front leg is pulling my back leg as I come slowly as much as possible. Slow it down. Override your body's want to. Speed it up. Keep driving apart. Right? So this is called bear sit. This is the position that we're training in our abduction class. From there, I will keep driving apart. This front knee is pulling it apart, pulling it across. Come as far as I can. Once my front knee starts to hit the floor, I will take this arm on my right hand, put it in front of me. So now I'm kind of in that same position on the other side. From here, I will take this hip and slowly come down and rotate into the other side. Okay, so from here, I'm in internal rotation. We're going to do our pales rails on the right side. 5 rotations here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stay open. So we will do our intro rotation pales rails, passive range lift offs, extra rotation pales rails, passive range holds, and we are done. Okay, so from here, open them as much as you can. Take a breath in. Brace that core, start driving foot and ankle, my right foot into the ground. Build that up for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Max effort 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rails. Knee drives down, foot rotates up. Keep pulling yourself more to the right. Keep trying to lift that foot for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6. Max effort 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just relax deeper into that stretch. Woo. And you can come out of that a little bit. Open, closed. Yes, so this should be open and closed. Yeah, so if you feel any cramping, anything like that on that side, it's not because you're dehydrated. Well, you may be dehydrated, I don't know. But the real reason for that cramping we call neurological confusion. Right, so it's essentially you're in a range, you're training in a range your body's so comfortable with, so it sends that signal to the muscles that whoop, tighten up, right? So the more you do it, the more you strengthen there, not only the deeper you're going to be able to go, but the more comfortable that's going to feel because your body's more familiar with being in that uncomfortable position, right? So right from here, out over my front leg. Again, you may need to, maybe different on your side. You may need to get way out here. I'm gonna go knee drives down, foot rotates up. I'm gonna do 5 passive range liftoffs or external rotation. I'm gonna go into external rotation elbows. Okay, so find that position you gotta be. You wanna do like a little practice rep. Right there, good. So for me, that's inches off the ground. That's where I wanna be, right? So from here, I'm gonna 5 reps. So knee drives down, and boom. That's 1. Up and down. 2. And up and down. 3. Up and down. 4. Last one. Up and down. That's 5 reps. I'll go right into external rotation, right? So I'm stretching this front hip. We should already get a good stretch on it. Lift that tailbone, try to stick that butt out. We've got a strength from my belly button, pulling forward and up. Strength from my tailbone back and up. So I'm trying to arch back, trying to get tension on that hip capsule, right? Because I'm not moving the femur, I'm rotating the pelvis on a fixed femur to get that stretch. Okay, once that feels rails, we'll do a passive range holds, okay? Get nice and tall. Get as much stretch on my tailbone, or on the hip capsule as you can, so in this case, do my left hip. Nice and tall. Take a breath in. Fix that core, solidify that torso position, start driving foot and ankle into the floor. We're building that up for 10. 9, 8, 7, get harder. 5, we're at 50%, 4, 3, 2, 80%, 1, 90%, and go 100% max out for 10. 9, 8, keep that position, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rails. Drive the knee down, try to lift that foot, keep going, keep that chest tall, keep lifting that tailbone. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax deeper into that stretch. Whenever we're doing a rails contraction, you not only want to try to drive the knee down, lift that foot, but also keep pulling yourself deeper in the stretch. So in this case, keep lifting the tailbone, keep lifting that chest. So when you relax your rails, you're still in a deep or even deeper stretch position. Okay, and slowly come out of that. From here, go right into our passive range holds. So in this case, we're going to hold because we're pulling into passive range or we're holding it there. Could do a lift off, right? So that would be passive range lift off. In this case, we're going to do our passive range holds. So top leg goes straight. Tension into the floor, gives you good stability on this leg. You can use a block under your rib cage from there if you like. Let's keep you honest. So I'm here, side plank style with my upper body. Bottom leg's at 90. The higher up into 90 you go, the harder it's going to be, right? So straight out in front, good place, safe place to start. Body straight, pull up, passive range, solidify the torso, and release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down slow. That is 1. There, okay. So you may notice my left side not quite the same as my right? So you may have differences between left and right. That is okay. We're just working to solidify those and bring them closer together over time. Okay, so slowly release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. Relax. Grab it again. Solidify the torso, solidify the leg into the floor, and release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3. Last 2 here, guys. Stay tall, 3. Stay off that block. Here we go. Hold it up, solidify, and release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4. There we go. Everything we got. Last one. Leg is straight. Torso tall. You can relax as you pull up. And solidify. Get that block there. And release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And down. Slow. Very nice. So that was our 30-minute internal external rotation Kinstretch class, you may notice that this position, if you're sitting in this position, was a little bit easier, right? Because that's kind of some extra rotation work that we just practiced. So I encourage you to, after this video is over, you can go back to some hip cars. You can do sideline hip cars. You can do standing hip cars. You can do quadruped hip cars. We want to do them all, right? You want to do as many cars as you can just throughout your daily life. I tell people, if you do one thing the rest of your life, one exercise, it would be a hip car. So make sure you just work on those, continue to try to get them better in conjunction with some tails and rails work. And then, like I said, in future classes, we'll do flexion extension, we'll do abduction, adduction, we'll keep layering in overall hip motion so we can feel better, function better, perform better. So thank you for joining on today's class, and I hope to see you in the next one.